I moved in 2004, so I was probably like about 9, 10.
I live this area, it's not like much, only 1.5 years, but I used to live in Tower Hamlets. So I love Tower Hamlets. So slowly I'm getting used to in this area. I'm getting loved this area.
When I moved here as well, I moved in with my partner, and yeah, I mean, I grew up in South London, and when I moved back to London, I was very much a South London boy, and of course, when you move, when you move to something, you want to move, and have people you know there as well, and help you settle in.
Came to this country when I was very young. I was probably about 3 or 4 years old. So my family are from Nigeria originally, and we kind of had some temporary accommodation for a while around Canning Town area, but then eventually moved to the Custom House area specifically.
Because I remember it quite distinctly. I moved 2 days after my birthday, and I felt so sad because like, oh, I've just had a birthday party at school with my friends, and now I've got to leave them all. But yeah, I moved to Custom House. I remember moving in and thinking like, oh, it's a totally new area.
I guess actually that I have had a whole slew of positive experiences. Actually working at the Ascension Food Bank over the last few months, during the kind of spring and summer, and just seeing actually the amount of how much people will kind of band together and seek to help people out in the community, which I found really both uplifting and really reassuring.
And for the most part, yeah, I really had a happy childhood. Me and my brother were really close as friends. I had good group of friends from school.
I moved from Tower Hamlets. I lived Tower Hamlets 18 years, so that's quite a nice place for me and like suitable place for me. So recently I moved this area, so it's quite difficult for me. So slowly I'm getting used to in this area.
I remember moving in and thinking like, oh, it's a totally new area. I don't know anyone. I wonder if the school's nice. I wonder if the teachers are nice. I wonder if I'll make any friends in school. What if I don't? But I remember the first day I went to school quite distinctly, and I met a few people in my class, and I remember it feeling like, oh, like it's been one day and I've already fit in and this is great. And yeah, it was just great. I think from day one I'd already felt the acceptance from some people in the community.
I really enjoyed the fact that my school, really from as far back as I can remember, has always been quite a diverse and mixed community. So you're gonna be alongside people from your own background. So I had African and Caribbean friends, I had lots of Asian friends, I had lots of white friends, and when you're young like that, I think for the most part you don't really see those differences. It's just great to have that variety. It seems like the most natural thing in the world. Like
local communities, like people like thinking like they should respect to each other, not like thinking you are come from another country or you are different religious. So that need to improve this local area. And like antisocial behaving again, because I'm quite concerned about the antisocial behaving in this area.
I guess the least positive is when I first moved here I didn't know as many people, so it felt a bit more kind of isolated. But I really like people, and so you try and get to know people as much as possible. You do the park runs, for example, and just get to know people, and that really does help.
When I was in year 10 in secondary school, we had to do work experience. They just placed me in the school PE department, and obviously back then I was just thinking like, oh, like I've got to do 2 weeks of like getting teachers lunches and kind of like running around and just get them things. But yeah, they sent me over to the garden community cafe to do like lunch runs and stuff, and that's where I kind of like picked up on like guitar lessons and craft club, and I kind of just got involved there. And I think my sense of community and feeling accepted and like anything I needed like help wise was there, and it just grew from there.
You also do get to learn a bit about other cultures. You get to, that proximity just allows you to be exposed a little bit to different ways that people eat or spend their spare time, you know, how they interact with their families and stuff like that. And I think that's just a really healthy thing.
The community is really, really good, but you know, there are, I think, lots of issues that people would come across. Especially, I guess, like, you know, Newham as a whole was very severely affected by COVID, and disproportionately so. And so I think it's about kind of you seeking to to balance some of those inequalities that the community does suffer from.
Negativity is like antisocial behaving is not good. They need to improve the antisocial. It's like some people stealing, some people car, they put dragging in the parking, in the park, they put like fire and stuff. That's not safe for the people who live in the houses, and somebody damage the other people's door and some people damage the other people's house.
When you've also got different cultures in close proximity, as much as there's loads of advantages and loads of good things, there's also some challenges that come with that. So, there's going to be times where you see people who aren't very comfortable being close to other cultures, and people who maybe are a little bit afraid of other people around them, and so sometimes you do unfortunately get to meet a bit of kind of the more overt types of racism.
I was out with my friends one time after, like, we were in secondary school, and we'd just hang out in the park and just chill out and like play guitar on top of like a hill or something, and I'd have like people throw like stones and like cherry pips at me just because I was slightly different from everyone else. So obviously we didn't want to cause any trouble, so when stuff like that happened, the thing you kind of did was keep your mouth shut and didn't really say anything and just held it in.
Oh, if I could change anything about the area, that's a really tough question. It would probably be to take out some of the fear that we have around difference, and actually I think sometimes those implicit biases that we have, those kind of unconscious prejudices that we have against other people that we don't necessarily want to or intend to have. I think a lot of that is born out of fear because we don't really understand other cultures. And I think the best way to address those kind of inequalities on an interpersonal level is that we're just not afraid of them, that actually we're happy and comfortable being alongside people that are different from us, and actually that we celebrate those differences, that we see them as a beautiful thing that adds richness to our culture in general, that we learn from and adds richness to us as individuals as well. And I think people will just be a lot happier, a lot more comfortable in themselves, in their own skin, and in the environment that we share.
It's been a really good experience. Again, going through different kind of groups such as Park Run down at Victoria Docks or Beckton, obviously the food trust here as well, and just, when you do get involved with people, it enriches, and I do feel part.
It's strange right now while we're all in lockdown. It's really hard to achieve a sense of community or feel that sense of community. So more than ever, you have to really try to take a proactive approach to be part of your community. But I think that's always been the way.
So community to me is feeling accepted, knowing that if I'm not in dire trouble, but like if I needed support or help in some way, there is someone probably in my community that I could reach out to and say, actually I'm in this little bit of a pickle of a situation, like either can you lend me some advice or just give me a hand or something.